comic book fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host, as always, Cammy. Now, I rarely get a chance to say this, but I get to say this. This week was an amazing week for comics. So amazing that I had to redo my Fast 5 picks 3 times. I kept on reading another good book, kept on going, okay, well, which one do I have to drop now? It was that good. But enough of this chit-chat. Let's get to the pick of the week. From Marvel, we have New Avengers number 44, written by Brian Michael Bendis and art by Billy Tan. This issue, it's an Illuminati meetup, and we go, oh, the Illuminati, because if you know me, I love the Illuminati. Whenever those guys get together on those fantastic adventures, I am so there. Anyway, so they're all meeting in the room, and Charles Xavier says, hey, what happens, you know how we defeated the Skrulls and whatnot? What happens if they've infiltrated us? What happens, you know? How would we be able to tell? And Doctor Strange says, oh, well, I can use my spells. Iron Man says my armor would detect it. Black Bolt just stays silent. Reed Richards says, oh, yeah, you know, I'd figure out some way to detect it. And, you know, Charles, you with your psychic ability. And then they, you know, it gets a little bit more serious. And Doctor Strange goes, okay, you know, I'll check it out. But that's the thing. He can't. That's when we realize they're all powerless. No one has any power. And then we realize Charles isn't Charles. It's a Skrull. This whole thing is a setup. The Skrulls have been testing the clones of the DNA samples they took of the superheroes and to see how would they detect the Skrull infiltration. Well, it seems like the only man who knows how to detect them is Reed Richards. That's why in the Secret Invasion made a series, he was locked up, just because he's that dangerous. He knows their secret. Well, the Skrulls fail in this experiment as the Charles Xavier Super Skrull gets huge and kills them all. But they do find out, after a new appointee, that maybe there's a better way, a simpler way. First they try to, you know, pretend to kill his wife and kid in front of him. That doesn't really work, because Reed Richards says, you know, I'll kill you, son of a bitch! I have to kill him again. But in the third test, they make it a little bit more subtle. They have Franklin Richards, Reed's son, come and say, Daddy, if the Skrulls invaded, how would you be able to tell? He just planted that little seed, let it grow, and soon enough, they got the formula. As soon as the Skrulls got the formula, they had no more use for the clone. And that's how the Skrulls have made themselves undetectable. Very exciting issue. I had so much fun, mainly because the Illuminati, even though it wasn't really the Illuminati, but another little Illuminati get-together, and it shows how far back the Skrulls have been planning this invasion. It's been pretty damn far. And only Bendis can write a tale this great. Now on to the consistently changing Fast 5. First up, from DC Entertainment, we have Final Crisis Rogue's Revenge number 2. Jeff Johns obviously knows how to write the Flash and all the Flash supporting characters / villains. They've been on the run, the Rogues, ever since they killed Bart Allen, and then they escaped to a prison planet, and then, you know, they came back. Pretty much they've been going through hell, and everyone still kind of sees them as a joke. Well, in this issue, they prove that they're no joke. Another Rogues gallery tries to come in and say, hey, no, we're the new Rogues. We're going to kill the speedsters, but, you know, Libra wants you for one last mission because, you know, your guys are old, you're out of date. And by the way, Captain Cold, we have your father here, so if you don't go see Libra, we're going to kill him. Captain Cold says, no, I'm going to go find and kill you guys, then I'll kill my father myself. Thank you very much. And that's what happens. A big bloodbath ensues. Captain Cold is just killing everyone, except he can't kill his dad at the end, because it just pains him too much. That bastard was never there for him when he was growing up, and the death of his sister maybe wasn't on his hands, but on his father's. Killer issue. Finally, another good crossover for Final Crisis, and thankfully, it's not just Secret Invasion with all these crossovers. Speaking of Secret Invasion crossovers, next up from Marvel we have Black Panther number 40. Jason Aaron continues his tale as the Wakandians, the Black Panther followers from Wakanda, they go toe-to-toe with the invading Skrull army. As Black Panther takes on a Super Skrull consisting of Wolverine, Iron Fist, and a couple others, defeats him, and then he gets to go up against an Asgardian Skrull, which consists of Loki, Thor, Beta Ray Bill, and a just super strength Skrull, which is the Thing, Hulk, and Juggernaut. Pretty lethal combinations, and Jason Aaron obviously knows his Super Skrulls. Well, that nice little cliffhanger as one of Storm's own security people is, guess what? A Skrull! Jason Aaron is once again consistently putting out a good Marvel title. Even though it might be a little one-shot or a little story arc, still, he's that good. Next up, from Vertigo, we have Northlanders number 9. Now, if you remember, the past 8 issues, there was the Sven story arc, where Sven comes home. And I thought it was over after that, because last issue was the conclusion. Turns out, Brian Wood's plan, Brian Wood of DMZ, his plan is to make an 8-arc story, have a 2-arc story, and then have another long 8-arc story. Well, this is the start of the 2-arc story. We follow a little boy in northern England, as he doesn't want to be a part of farm life, and he hates his dad, doesn't like his brother, and the whole religion thing. He's not really into that. So he prays to the old gods, the Viking gods. He says, please come, and guess what? They do. And as soon as they land on shore, he's right there to say, hey, the village is that way. Go kill them. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do next issue, and it's a Viking book. How cool is that? Next up from DC, we have Justice Society of America number 18. Now, in this issue, unfortunately, even though Gog is doing all this great stuff, Lance Corporal David Reed, unfortunately, meets an untimely demise. And Gog says, not to worry, not to worry. You know, I've been making all this great stuff happen. I'll just bring him back to life. Guess what he brings him back to life as? He brings him back to life as Magog, the feared Magog from Kingdom Come, the one that Superman was trying to warn everyone about. So it was a very nice little sharp left turn in this series. Now things are finally starting to happen because in the last couple of issues it's been kind of slow paced. But you know, Violent's going to really hit you with all it's got. So that's that. And finally this week from Icon Entertainment we have Kick-Ass number 4. Now whenever this book comes out I always have a great time. Mark Millar has so many books he's writing right now, and Wolverine came out again this week, and also Kick-Ass number 4. And the reason I picked Kick-Ass number 4 over Wolverine was because of Hit Girl and Big Daddy. The violent, well, violence putting it softly, the extremely bloodthirsty Batman and Robin of the Icon universe. Remember that last panel, that little girl holding the sword? Yeah, that's Hit Girl, and she just slices and dices everyone in that room. Tells Kick-Ass, hey, us heroes have to stick together. Now the Mafia isn't really pleased with this, and they might go after Kick-Ass to find out where Big Daddy and Hit Girl are, but in the meantime, they're pretty scared. And I would be too if that 12-year-old leaping from rooftop to rooftop comes and, kills all my guys. Well, that does it for Cammy's Comic Corner this week. If you want to be our friend, go to myspace.com/Cammy's Comic Corner. From there you can subscribe to the RSS feed or to subscribe to us on iTunes by clicking underneath that banner. Unfortunately, since this week was so good, next week probably isn't going to be all that great. But hey, I've been wrong in the past before. I don't remember when I've been wrong, but I know I've probably been wrong. We're not all perfect. So, until next time, I've been your host, Cammy. Thanks for watching Cammy's Comic Corner.